Welcome, everybody, to the 156 podcast. You are here with your two co-hosts, Ryan and
Luke.
Yeah, so, this pod has been in the works for a long time now.
For sure. It's definitely been in the works, and I feel more rather than the knowledge, we just kind of lack the physical tools to kind of make it happen.
Oh yeah. We didn't have microphones. We didn't have headphones. We just didn't have the materials. And we didn't have the opportunity to make this podcast either.
For sure, and definitely we do need to take advantage of any opportunities we're granted because you'll never know when they'll pass by you again.
Oh yeah, 100%. Oh, yeah. You can't tell when an opportunity is going to come back to you.
Absolutely, and that's kind of a motto I like to stand by. Take an opportunity where it's there, or it might just fly past you.
Oh yeah, 100%. Yeah. So, we're gonna talk about a lot of good stuff on this podcast. Today on the agenda we got some good stuff planned.
We got some sports, maybe a draft.
Draft, yeah. Oh wow, that's a big one. Yeah,
and it's gonna be a big one.
Just like a little bit of chatter at the end, just like some stuff like that.
Some side talk, side convos.
Yeah, just like debrief. You know how it is. You guys know how it goes.
Yeah, but if you guys do have any recommendations for content or anything you'd like us to talk about, just leave it down below in the comments or hit us up on Instagram.
Please
we'll try to incorporate into one of the next episodes.
Yeah. So those handles are going to be out shortly, and everything's going to be perfect.
Yeah.
So at the time of recording this video, we are in the middle of the NFL playoffs, and just what a great time to be alive, huh?
No, for sure. This is definitely going to be one of the more interesting playoffs in recent memory.
Oh yeah, 100%.
We have the Cinderella story, Jaden Daniels on the team formerly known as the Washington Football Team.
Oh, and before that, the Washington Redskins.
Absolutely. Who could forget?
We gotta give recognition to where they were before.
Yeah.
And
there's been a lot of changes for that franchise.
100%, yeah. And they're under new ownership now, and they're just playing some great football, I think.
Absolutely. He's kind of going to be the head of the snake there, Mr. Daniels himself.
Oh yeah.
Do have some quality receivers. Defense is solid.
Yeah. They got a lot of good guys.
I feel like more importantly, if I could kind of build off your point here, it's kind of going to be the continuity and the chemistry. More so than the guys in the locker room.
Yeah, 100%. Yeah. Because look, we got some guys on this team, right? We got some big egos. We got some good players, but we just gotta. Look, Jaden Daniels is a great player. We got Brian Thomas. Brian Robinson Jr. He did get shot, but now look at him. He's balling. It's just incredible how this team could go and have such young players, such young stars, and really knock off some people that no one thought they.
Yeah, no one thought the Lions were going to be upset.
No one thought no. And the Lions were very big favorites going into the game, and even against the Buccaneers in the first round.
The Buccaneers are a talented team.
They are very talented. And what Baker Mayfield's doing down there in Tampa, Florida, is amazing. You got to be happy.
He's really revitalized his career. Kind of similar to Seattle QB Eugene Smith. Kind of on that same path there. Got to give credit where credit's due.
100%, yeah, and you gotta feel happy for Baker. This is a guy who, coming out of Oklahoma, we thought was going to be one of the next best QBs in the league.
Had a disappointing start to his career with the Browns.
Look, he had a great rookie season, but after that, it just wasn't up to par and what it should have been. So
yeah.
Then he spent some time down in Carolina. He went to the Rams. He had a nice, He had
a good stint with the Rams.
He did have a good stint with the Rams, and it's what a lot of people would consider the revive of his career when he had a 98-yard touchdown drive, game-winning drive against the Raiders on Thursday Night Football, and a lot of people say that right there, that very moment is what revived his career and what made him get the traction from other teams.
No, for sure, and kind of that moment there just shows that even through all the animosity, he's been through, he still had enough courage. Will leave his ego on the side, even though he thinks maybe I'm better than this. I should have a starting job. He took the opportunity he was given. He definitely made it count.
And back to the whole thing about opportunities. Baker Mayfield saw that his opportunities were running out, and he jumped on the last opportunity, the contract with the Bucs that he was given. And, he took the opportunity and he soared with it. Now we're looking at a team who's won their division 2 times in a row with Baker Mayfield under center, won a playoff game in a game that nobody thought that they would win.
Yeah.
And now they're out here just beating good teams. They did bring that game close against the Commanders, and great game. If the kick goes a few inches more to the left, and we're looking at overtime, and we're looking at a game which could be really anyone's game.
For sure. And you kind of do have to give it up for those type of guys, specifically Eugene, Mr. Darnold. Of course, kind of not in the same context, but a guy playing out of his mind down there in Carolina, Mr. Bryce Young,
Yes.
Ever since Rod Wave got in touch with him, he's been really balling.
And I mean, I'd like to touch up on that because I'm just like me personally, I'm just really wondering, what did Rod Wave say?
I mean, that is a phenomenal question there, Ryan.
Great question.
Thank you for bringing that to light here. And
of course,
honestly, I mean, we'll never know. Now, Bryce Young did get interviewed regarding this topic. I believe he just said, the triple platinum rapper Rod Wave was kind of just telling him to keep his head up and keep going out there. But what was really, really pertaining in that conversation, we'll never know.
We will never know. I know, and it's crazy that we'll never know because that is a moment where we could say, like we said with Baker Mayfield, revitalizing. I mean, that just brought back, it looks like now he has more joy playing the game as I watch the Carolina Panthers play. Like, it's amazing. It's a revelation.
It's great to see.
It's a revelation to watch. It's great. I'm very happy for the man down in Carolina, and I'm happy that he's able to have success at the pro level and not just at the college level like he did before.
I mean, Carolina, they're on a bright path here. I mean, it's not necessarily the wins that you're going to be seeing. It's more of the confidence boost and kind of the entire locker room as kind of, they're playing off of the head of the snake there, Bryce Young.
Oh yeah, 100%. And the head coach Dave Canales is also doing a great job. This is a guy who we've considered the quarterback whisperer. I mean, he was with Baker Mayfield last year in Tampa Bay.
He was.
And we said that he revived his career. And I mean, we just got to be happy, and we just got to give Bryce Young his props and his flowers for taking the opportunity that he was given.
I mean, absolutely. You really do need to recognize when that kind of work does come into play. And especially with someone, everyone wrote him off. He didn't write back, that's for sure.
Famous quote by Eugene Smith there, yes.
No, that's a good point out there, Ryan. And I mean, I'm really excited to see the future of Carolina, kind of the future more with Washington, even though they've been great. I know there's still a bright future ahead for them.
Stellar future, yes.
Yeah.
And another thing I'd like to point out about this, I mean, two quarterbacks that we've been talking about, Baker Mayfield and Bryce Young down in Carolina, is that both of these guys were number one overall picks. They were both drafted number one in their respective draft classes. And I just think that it's interesting to think, the number one pick doesn't always work out. I mean, we've had back-to-back seasons where the number two drafted QB in C.J. Stroud and Jaden Daniels have significantly outperformed the number one picks in Caleb Williams and Bryce Young, respectively.
I mean, but we do really kind of have to, of course, Bryce Young's been phenomenal. Caleb's been great in his own ways. We've definitely seen flashes there. I do think all four of the guys you've just mentioned definitely do have bright futures ahead.
Of course, yeah. And I would consider all of these guys franchise QBs. Would you also consider these guys franchise QBs?
I mean, it really depends, how your franchise is heading. Now, I do think Caleb, for sure, the flashes we've seen at Oklahoma as well as USC.
Oh, yeah, 100%.
I mean, he was undoubtedly the best QB prospect in, the last 5-6 years.
He's a QB prospect that I don't think we'll ever see again. I don't think we'll see a guy like Caleb.
They don't come around often, that's for sure.
No,
I do think Bryce Young, even though he did show flashes, I mean, now would they move on from him so early in his career? I don't think that's just going to be a possibility, but I feel like next year kind of would be, boom or bust for him. If he really doesn't get it going, Carolina could, start having conversations about moving on at the quarterback position.
Potentially, yes. 100%. I agree with you that there could be some hard conversations they're going to have to make there. There would be some phone calls. And also, it really just has to do with Bryce Young's draft stock at the end. I mean, look, we're looking at a guy who I still think is worth a first-round pick. I think we could both agree on that because this is a guy who has a lot of untapped potential still and has shown a lot of great flashes and has really improved on himself recently. So,
oh, he has for sure. And I'm really excited to see what this offseason done for.
Very excited. Yes. I mean, we've been talking a lot about the draft and everything. The draft is just it's such an amazing spot for NFL players and such an amazing spot for NFL teams to really just bring a spark back to their. I mean, we're seeing this year with the Washington Commanders. That they drafted their guy, they drafted their QB, and now like they're just doing incredible. I mean, no one thought that they would be this good.
I mean, I honestly, I don't even think the most optimistic Commanders fan could have seen this coming. Obviously, I'm happy for them. I think America is going to be rooting for Washington here, this postseason. But kind of touching back on what you said about the draft, I mean, the draft is really phenomenal. You can get kind of, any type of guy you want from there. Different selections, different rounds. You can definitely fill out a roster from there. And, kind of looking at the Detroit Lions, yes, they got upset early. I do think there is still a brighter future ahead. Most of their core guys have came from the draft. You got Gibbs, Montgomery, St. Brown.
I mean, they did. They signed Montgomery in free agency, but I mean, it's okay. It's okay. I won't shoot down the messenger. It's all good. I mean,
Did you really? Oh, he was on the Bears, right?
Yes, he was on the Bears before. But yeah, no, it's okay.
He was with Equanimous. I got confused.
Yeah, he was with Equanimous St. Brown's on the Bears. Yeah. So I mean, we've been talking about the draft a lot. Why don't we just do a draft of drafts?
Anything we should get into a draft?
I think that we should just get into the draft really quickly. So, how would we like to settle first pick?
I mean, I think we can do it. We do like a rock, paper, scissors action.
Rock, paper, scissors, shoot?
Yeah.
Are you a shoot type of guy after you say rock, paper, scissors, or just like a rock, paper, scissors?
No, I'm kind of like a rock, paper, scissors, shoot, You gotta extend the arm there.
I also agree. You gotta go just with the shoot. Like,
are we gonna be doing a bit of a snake draft or just a 1-1 type of?
I think we could go. I think we could go snake here.
Go snake?
Yeah.
Sounds good. Okay, you want to get right into it?
Yeah.
Best of 3 or just one round?
We'll just go straight up.
Straight up.
We're going shoot, right?
Yeah.
All right. Okay.
Shoot. Looks like I win this one here.
All right. So go ahead with your.
And I mean, in the draft, we were really touching up on the NFL draft, but there are so many different ways I could go here with my first overall pick.
There is so many ways.
Yeah, there are a large amount of ways.
And I'm actually glad that you said that because there is so many ways to go about drafts.
Yeah. I mean, you can work to improve the team. You could trade your selection for an already established player. Pick swaps kind of come into play here. But I'm going to keep it pretty simple. It's kind of the way that we have been going over the NFL draft here. I do think that's going to be the clear number 1 pick. There are going to be more rounds in the NFL draft than the NBA draft.
Yep.
You can definitely completely revitalize your franchise in just one season with the draft there. 100%. So NFL draft.
I'm really glad that you gave the NFL draft. I mean, he's been doing some great stuff down in whatever city he's in. I mean, his city changes every year, but yeah. I mean, he's been doing some great stuff down there.
Oh, for sure. Glad to see him playing well.
I'm very glad. Yeah. Great. I mean, he's playing phenomenal ball.
He's a great guy off the field too.
Yeah. Great player. Incredible player. Incredible person too.
No, for sure.
Sure. So so we're doing snake. So with my next 2 picks, I'm just gonna go with 2 guys that really they grew up with each other. They just go hand in hand with each other. Like,
I think I know where this is going.
You think?
Yeah.
So I'm gonna select the rough draft and the final draft.
Yeah, I know. I knew that was coming.
These are 2 guys who have a lot of familiarities with each other and a lot of similarities. I mean, like, these are 2 guys who.
I mean, the chemistry is unmatched. They've been playing together, since birth.
Yeah. So and you can't have one without the other. I mean, you can't have just a rough draft and then not finalize it into a final draft.
Yeah.
And you can't just have a final draft before you have a rough draft.
Yeah. No, I mean, they kind of do work hand in hand, similar to the pick and roll. Similar to that QB toss over to the receiver.
Yeah.
That connection's definitely there.
Yeah. Like they really work hand in glove. I mean, like,
yeah.
These are just 2 guys who just need each other. I mean, they need each other to succeed, and they need to feed off of each other. I mean, we're seeing down what they're doing in Atlanta right now.
Yeah.
They're doing some great stuff, playing some great ball together. I mean, they're just really excelling, and I think that it's great that they've remained with each other for this long of time.
Mm-hmm. I mean, I feel like kind of they're more than teammates at this point. It could be closer to a brotherhood, and I kind of knew where this was heading when we were gonna do the snake draft there. So I mean, I kind of got myself into that bag. The cat kind of did get out the bag there, but
yeah.
I mean, I'm glad you got some good players to start off the draft here. Am I gonna be taking 2 selections, or is it gonna be just one?
I think it's just gonna be 1 going forward for each of us now. Yes,
just 1 going forward. Okay, so with my next pick here, we are gonna be doing a draft, and I mean. Now, me personally, being underage, of course, I'm not really going to indulge much in this player. I do have him on my draft list for future reference, of course,
yep.
But I do feel like Draft Beer could be a solid player too.
That is a great player. Yes, I do agree with you. I mean, Draft Beer. I mean, he plays his roles.
He plays the game the right way.
He plays the game in incredible. I mean, he's like a first guy in, last guy out type of guy.
He's a glue guy. He's a guy you definitely want in the locker room.
Yeah, great locker room presence. I mean, this is a guy who I mean, you ask him to be in the gym at 6:30, he's going to be in the gym at 6.
He'll be there at 5:30 because he knows you'll think he'll be there at 6. He'll be there 5:30.
This is a guy who's really just looking out for the better of his teammates. I mean, he's swinging the rock. He's just playing the game the right way.
I mean, he does it all. You know, Draft Beer with the NFL draft. They can't go wrong. While they don't have the direct duo there, I don't think they've played. Have they played much?
I don't think they've played.
I don't think they've played much, but
they are in the same division, but I don't think they've played.
I mean, from division rivals to teammates, I'm interested to see how
it's
this
a great
plays
story.
out.
Yes, great story. So now with my next pick, and I think now this is really where the draft starts. Because we had those we had the consensus.
Yeah, the consensus. Yeah.
And then the two guys. I
think the top 5 is pretty consensus. You can flip it any way you want, but top 5 is gonna be pretty stationary.
Oh yeah, 100%. I agree with you. So now with my next pick, I will just be selecting a nice draft coming from the air, like a little draft that's coming in. You know what I'm touching up on?
Yeah, that's going to be a good one. You know, that morning draft, you know, the breeze coming in.
And this is a player who, I mean, we could just not go and live our lives without. I mean, this is a guy who you're cracking open your window so you can get a little bit of that draft coming in.
Yeah, no, for sure. I mean, I do really feel like, touching about what we were speaking about earlier, the opportunities, you know, he's ready. Whether the window is open or closed, he's ready. But as soon as that crack's available, he's going to make his mark. He's going to go ahead, leave his all on the court there. He's a guy you want to have in those big moments. He's very confident.
He is a guy. He is a guy that you want in these moments because he is also, I mean, like you're saying, he is super consistent. Mm-hmm. I mean, this is a guy, I mean, he's been, in the league for years now.
He's veteran for sure.
He's been playing for decades, and I mean, this is a guy who's been averaging consistently good numbers throughout his entire career.
Reminds me a lot of that guy down Tampa Bay, Mike Evans. Similar vibes.
Yes, there. Mike Evans is a very consistent player, and I mean, like consistency is key in drafts like this. So absolutely. if you'd like to make your next selection.
I mean, with my 3rd overall pick here, we already have the Draft Beer, we already have the NFL draft here, but going into a different league here, we're staying in the same kind of system. I feel like the NBA draft would just make sense. While I don't believe it can completely change your franchise that quickly, you still would need a few years to develop. But, I mean, if you look at the guys who've came out of the draft, you've got recently Victor Wembanyama, we've got Paolo Banchero. It did take a few years, but the Magic look like they're on a good pace here.
Oh yeah, 100%.
And I do think the NBA draft is going to be a top one as well.
And there's a lot of guys that are just coming out of the NBA draft that you're not even thinking about, and they're just stars right out the gate. And I mean, look, a perfect example this year was
Jared McCain?
We kind of knew about Jared McCain, but there was this guy, I mean, his draft stock fell because of his age, Dalton Connect.
Has been phenomenal.
He's been great role player. I mean, he's putting up numbers, and he's shooting in, a way that we haven't seen before from a guy that young. And, I mean, I think the reason why we're sleeping on this guy is because he is a little bit older coming out of the draft. How old is he? 24 years old, I think?
I think he was 23. I think he was a 4-year player, I'm pretty sure. But, I mean, from those players, kind of, when you're looking at them on the draft board, you're kind of thinking, these guys, most of them won't really be lottery picks because the floor will be high, but the ceiling isn't really there. Because when you're kind of thinking NBA terms, 23-year-old player now, for example, what is Anthony Edwards 23? He's around there.
23, yeah.
I think he's like 23, 24.
Yes.
He's somewhere around that age there, and he's already a superstar. Most players kind of drafted at that age there would become superstars by 23, 24, and while Dalton isn't going to be a superstar, at least in my opinion, I do completely think that he is going to have some great impact on the Lakers here. So.
Well, Dalton is a great player, and I think that I'm just very glad that you gave the NBA draft its flowers, and you gave the NBA draft the recognition.
He's a great guy off the court, too.
Great player. I mean, he's been nominated for Man of the Year so many times.
Yeah, has he won it yet or no?
I believe he won it back in 2018.
picking it too. No, it makes sense. Phenomenal guy. And on to your fourth pick here?
Yes, my fourth pick. So with my fourth pick, I'm gonna be making a little bit of an unconventional pick. But this is a guy who, I mean, like we've been talking about the NBA draft and the NFL draft. I'm just gonna be taking the draft stock.
No,
the draft
sure.
stock of these guys.
Yeah.
You know, and I mean, like this is what we're saying. Like the draft stock of Dalton Connect, say the draft stock of Bryce Young out there in football. I mean, draft stocks can just really change the way that people draft.
No, for sure, and it definitely kind of does put a rating on the player and their perceived value. So it's a great way to have an evaluation of the guy you're going to be picking.
Great way, yes.
Maybe comes in line with the little scouting report. If he's going to be a diva in the locker room, or he's kind of going to be a glue guy, a mesh guy, first guy in, last guy out. Just kind of has that vibe where he's not really scared to dive for a loose ball.
Oh no, not at all. And I mean this draft stock guy. I mean I just like to touch up on his ability to really he just has a great ability to bring up players and make them improve on their game. I don't know if it's the coaching aspect or the passing aspect, or it's just some aspect of his game that I'm just really in love with.
No, and I think it's a phenomenal pick. You got him for a steal there at number 4. Now, I mean, this is going to be my fourth or my last pick here?
This is going to be your fourth pick.
So, I mean, with my fourth selection here, I do think we have a pretty solid core here. We have the NFL, NBA drafts. We have the draft beard, the glue guy, kind of tie everything together. I think with my pick here, I may just get the draft.
That is a great pick. That is an incredible outside of the box pick. Very outside of the box. I will give you that for drafting. And I mean, look, without the draft, we wouldn't be having this draft right now.
Yeah, I mean, it's kind of bringing light to these conversations here.
100%.
You got to give him his flowers. He's been great on and off the court.
Yeah.
Role model guy in the locker room. I mean, I believe he helped my mom at the supermarket a few days ago as well, bagging up her groceries. So
I actually would like to say I did send him a pack of roses the other day.
Oh,
so I did send him his flowers. I made sure his.
You made sure he got his flowers.
I made sure he got his flowers.
Oh,
yes.
Perfect. And that's gonna be a class move by you, Ryan.
I appreciate that. I really do appreciate that.
Fantastic.
So now, I mean, look, like this last pick. I mean, I could go a lot of ways here. There's a lot of people I could select with this last pick. And with that pick that you just made, I mean, it is a great pick, and it is a pick that puts a lot of pressure on me to make a selection that's very strong. So, I think a guy, again, and I'm just going for another guy who I just know will fit with my previous pick. I'm just going to pick the draft board. And this is a guy who's holding up everyone who could be selected. He's just a positive, optimistic man. He's just always looking to bring up others.
Yeah, and to kind of tie on to what you're saying there, I mean, honestly, he's kind of going to be the backbone of the locker room.
Oh, yeah, 100%.
All of the players are going to be relying on him. You'll kind of know who gets selected, who doesn't get selected. He's going to be that decision maker there, and he's kind of the anchor holding down the ship, if you will. So.
Oh, yeah. You will, yeah.
Yeah, I will. So, now, I mean, with my last pick here, again, just kind of touching back on everything. We have some important drafts. We have the draft. We have the glue guy here, but what I feel my team is really missing here, and kind of why I do like the draft so much, I'm going to draft a backbone here. Get some muscle on the squad. I'm going to go with the Army draft.
The Army draft.
Yeah, so what we are going to have here,
This is a tougher player who's not scared to do the little things correctly. This is a guy who's going to be diving for every rebound that you see. Yeah. He's going to be crashing the boards. He's going to be boxing out.
He's the hustle guy. He's not scared to, wake up at 0:005 and just start, cranking those push-ups, get in the weight room.
Oh yeah, 100%. And this is a guy who's he's always in the weight room. I mean, he's what coaches have considered a gym rat in the past. Have you heard those scouting reports?
I haven't heard gym rat. I've heard he's more of a just more of a shooter. He kind of likes to. While he will crash the boards occasionally, put some muscle on. He's more of a shooter. You'll see him in the back. He's more of a sniper, getting his shots up.
I got you, and I think that was a great pick. So I mean that concludes the draft. So I would just like to see your guys' opinion. So you guys can let us know down in the comment section below who you guys think won the draft. But I mean, like, This was a great draft, and I just like really appreciate you for bringing up this idea in the past.
I mean, I do feel like both of our teams are going to be relatively evenly matched. I think it would come down to a 7-game series to see who gets the better of the others.
Yes.
So,
yes.
I mean, I'll let you guys down in the comments here decide on who had the better squad, and we'll let you guys battle it out there down below.
Oh yeah, and I mean, you can't really go wrong. I would not be upset if you guys did give it to Luke's team, because I mean, Luke's team's got some superstar players. I mean, we got the first pick of the draft, the NFL draft. You got Draft Beer, who was a guy that I did want on my team because I mean the scouting report on him is just
it was phenomenal, to say the least.
To say the least. Yes. I mean, he's just that is just a player who, I mean, if you see him in free agency, you're going for him and you're throwing everything in the kitchen sink at him. Mm-hmm. I mean, that's a guy who you're willing to pay an arm and a leg to have his services on your team. You know what I mean?
Because when you kind of think of it now, John Jones is going to be the pound for pound best fighter in the world now.
Yes.
Not even close here. So just wanted to interrupt here. Just give John Jones his flowers, and I'll let you continue out.
I appreciate that. I appreciate you. You know, I actually to add a little bit more to your point there. I just think that there's some guys in leagues that we just don't appreciate right now.
We don't. No, you're right.
I mean, we got my guy Red in the color league, who's just, I mean, everyone appreciates Red, but nobody really appreciates my brother Orange.
I mean, to be fair, now listen.
You can be fair.
No, here.
Yes, go ahead.
May I be fair?
Yes, you may.
Hear me out. Now, I think Orange phenomenal at his role.
Yes.
I mean, I think he plays the game the right way.
Yes.
He has his. He's not red. He's not yellow. He's in the middle. He knows his lane.
He knows he's orange.
As LeVar Ball once said, stay in your lane. He's staying in his lane. But the thing is,
yes,
he's not as vibrant as yellow, and I think you'll agree with me.
And he's just not. But that's just not the type of player that he is.
No, I do agree with you, but he's not as vibrant as yellow. He's not a heavy hitter as red. Now, the traffic light, when it turns orange, do you stop? Do you go? It's maybe 60-40, you go, 40 you stop. He's not getting that respect he deserves. Red, you'll stop. Red, you'll stop. Orange, will you stop for orange? It is kind of a respect thing.
That is a great point, but I just think that Orange has done so much. I mean, we have traffic lights, we have carrots, we have
cones,
we have orange. I mean, he has a whole fruit named.
He does. That does add to his resume.
He does have a fruit named after him.
He does.
So I mean, and that's just like insane to me. And I think that is praise. That we just got to give this guy. We got to give him his flowers, whatever color the flowers are. We just got to give him his flowers.
I mean, and Orange. I feel like the flowers should be orange, kind of just to let him feel like he's respected. If you give him the red flowers there, you send him some roses. He'll kind of be like, is this a joke? He's been very disrespected on social media.
Yes. Oh, 100%. Have you seen the recent posts?
No, I haven't. I am here to defend him as well. That's kind of why we're raising awareness to Orange here. He does not deserve the slander whatsoever.
Oh, yeah, 100%. Orange, I think Orange is a guy who he just does such an incredible job at his role that I would just like to acknowledge that and give him praise for that. You know what I mean?
And I haven't spoken to him personally. Not sure how much of a guy he is off the playing
Great guy.
field.
I would just like. Sorry if I'm interrupting you, but I would just like to say he's an incredible person.
You've spoken with him?
Yes, he is a class act. I mean everything that he does supports his family of 5 very nicely. I mean he's just an incredible guy.
I mean, I can believe it based on what he's doing for the rest of the colors, kind of elevating everyone else. When red and yellow come together, they have orange here.
Yeah,
so he's gonna be that. He's gonna be whenever there's some continuity. Whenever there's gonna be some type of fight, disagreement between the two. He's kind of gonna be that middle.
He's gonna be the solution to the fight. I mean, and that's just like a guy who, look, like. We have a lot of guys in this league who are very cocky and who are very stuck up. Our color is blue right now, but blue is. I think you could agree with me. Blue is a very stuck up guy.
His ego is kind of way over his head.
His ego is over his head. He is not down to earth at all, and I just don't appreciate that. That's why I appreciate a guy like Orange so much more.
Now listen here. When you really kind of dive deeper into Orange, just the kind of perspective to think about his impact here is. With him on the team, you're not guaranteed to win, right? It's not a guarantee that you'll win just because you have Orange.
Yes, 100%.
But without Orange, there's no chance you're gonna win.
Oh yeah,
you
100%.
need him on the squad
100%.
here.
Yeah.
Another player like
Orange. He's a guy that the rainbow would not be complete without him.
Absolutely not.
Without Orange there is no rainbow. Without Orange there is. Without Orange we're looking at a world without Orange.
And could you really imagine a world without Orange?
I can't. I really can't. And I just really appreciate the fact that we've given Orange his orange flowers and we've given him the recognition that he needs. So moving forward, he understands that he is respected.
He's definitely respected here. Kind of the same like a player like Cyan kind of gets, overshadowed between Navy and kind of like a Teal. He's kind of in the middle there. Now, he's someone who I feel like doesn't really know his role. He's kind of flip-flopping.
Oh, yeah, 100%.
Does he want to be dark blue? Does he want to be light blue? He hasn't made it clear, at least to me and the rest of the coaching staff,
and I think
where he wants to play.
And I think he has to go through some introspection to really find himself and really figure out what role he wants to play. Because that will really affect his performances from here on out.
Yeah. Now listen to me here. Now, it's up to him, though. The talent is indubiously there.
Oh yeah, the talent is 100% there.
The talent's there.
And the talent has never been the concern for Cyan, but Cyan just really has to he just has to figure out who he wants to be and how he wants to play.
And I feel like once he kind of defines it within on where he wants to be, I feel like he'll be well on his way. Perennial All-Star. We're talking All-Pro, All-NBA type stuff.
We're talking about a guy who can be a potential Hall of Fame.
No,
and he's still very young. Very young.
No, Cyan is pretty young.
Very young. Yes.
Just 4th, 5th year in the league. He's had some time to develop. That's where we've seen the flash of the talent. But you can't be consistent if you're flip-flopping roles. If he picks his lane, stays in his lane, I do really think he can be a perennial All-Star.
So I would just like to, and I appreciate this conversation, very valuable conversation. I just want to cycle to our weekly rewards, our weekly awards. So we can start with the MVP of the week. Who would you say is So I would say the MVP of the week for me at least is my microphone right here, staying in front of me. He's got to be the MVP, right? Because without my big Mike right here, without Big Mike right here, we would not be making this podcast. So I would just like to give I would like to give MVP praise for the week to Big Mike right here.
No, I do think Big Mike's a phenomenal player. Another guy who knows his role. He's gonna be in between that purple indigo and kind of between Cyan. Cyan kind of wants to be like Big Mike. I don't know if Cyan's going to be like Big Mike.
I just don't see a world where Cyan could fill the role that Big Mike plays. You know what I mean? So, who's your who would you say is your most improved guy of the week?
Most improved or MVP?
Most improved. I think I touched up on MVP, so why don't you touch up on
my most improved here, I do think we're going to have to go Concrete, for sure. And
Concrete?
It may be an unconventional pick. I'm not sure if you've seen what he's showcased these past weeks, but the roads have been extremely solid. The performance he received from the roads, generally it's going to be kind of on and off, but the roads have been very solid.
And I just need to ask, just for clarity, is this a shot at asphalt?
Yes. I hate to do it on the pod here, but yes, it is. Asphalt has been lacking ever since the playground days.
Oh yeah, 100%.
And Concrete's definitely taken over the
industry. Concrete has taken over the industry, and honestly, I'm happy for Concrete. I'm happy to see him succeed.
For sure. The roads are better.
He's just out here making our world a better place, and you can't ask for much more from a guy like Concrete.
No, you can't. But sometimes my friend Mr. Hole, first name Pot, kind of does mess up his groove here, but. Usually he does find his way back, and
but again, I think that is also out of Concrete's control. That's something that he can't really control.
It is out of his control, but you kind of want to see more durability from a player like that.
100%. I would agree with you. Yeah, that this is a guy who we do want to see more durability in. This is a guy who we do, really just want to see succeed because, like we said, he's improved so much.
Yeah, as in kind of, as we're kind of entering the load management era, some players taking days off when they don't need it.
Unbelievable.
Concrete's kind of been like that. Now, he's going to be most improved because he hasn't taken any days off recently. He's been playing well.
Yes, recently. Recently, he's been showing up day in, day out, and he's just been performing. And I really appreciate that from Concrete. So now I'm just gonna give my rookie of the week to these socks that are fitting nicer for me.
Oh, and what type of socks are they?
These are New Balance socks.
New Balance socks. Are they gonna be the white ones or the black ones?
These are gonna be the white ones.
White ones. I mean, I do feel like white socks completely have their role. White socks, they're something reliable. You
are something.
You
reliable.
Can't go wrong with the white sock.
You cannot. No, you can't go wrong. And that's just the beauty of the white sock. I mean, you just cannot go wrong.
Cannot. No.
You just can't. It's impossible to go wrong with them. You know what I mean? I mean, they just fit with any color, anything. They just play. I'm not even just play the game the right way. They just play the game with a style that just fits with anybody.
No, they definitely played the game.
Oh yeah, they play the game a lot. And I mean, they do play the game every day. It's just a matter of which day they want to play it.
Mm-hmm. And I mean, my rookie of the week may differ from yours. I think I'm gonna go bug repellent here, and I don't think much needs to be said about that.
Oh yeah, 100%. Bug repellent is a guy who, I mean, look, like if this is a guy who you don't have on your team, you will never understand what you're missing without him. I mean, here's a guy who just plays his role to the best of his ability. No,
here is a guy.
He is a guy. Yeah, 100%. Definitely one of. Would you consider him one of the players all time?
All time?
All time, yes. One of the players all time.
Again, he's still a rookie. He's definitely one of the players. Now, undoubtedly, I do think he's one of the players. All time in his rookie season, I don't know if we can put him as one of the players all time, but we can definitely put him as one of the players.
Definitely one of the players, yes. Definitely one of the players. He is, and he is a damn good player. And I'm happy that you gave him recognition.
And then if you bring me this over here, there were some questions here from some of the subscribers. If you'd like to read off. Yeah, I saw that one right there.
Just a few of them? Yeah, sir, sure. So I got here, Bradley actually wrote to us. Good evening, distinguished gentlemen. Pod question. I like the question.
It's a good question. Yeah, who said that
question? Bradley.
I mean, that is a very Bradley question.
Oh, yeah, 100%. Very Bradley question. It's got its flavor all over it.
Now, even if you didn't tell me it's written by Bradley, I would have to assume it's who else could have written that question.
I think I'm just gonna read the question one more time.
Just one more time.
And with questions like these, like I know I'm sorry that I'm reading it again, but I mean with questions like these, we do just have to read the question multiple times. The question reads, "Good evening, distinguished gentlemen." Pod question.
No, that definitely has Bradley's saliva all over.
All over, yes. And how would you go about answering this question?
I mean, like, the question itself is the answer. It's kind of ingrained within the question. He goes, "Good evening, distinguished gentlemen." Pod question. Yeah, you see, you kind of got it. It's the pod question. And that's kind of where we cycle back into the answer here. So when we kind of head into the pod, of course, three-letter word, P-O-D, pod. Backwards is DOP. So, okay, it seems like we had some audio troubles. So, are you able to hear me here?
Sorry, yeah. Can everyone hear? Yeah, sorry. The mic's cut out for a second.
So as I was saying, pod, backwards is going to be DOP. It's one of those three-letter words and kind of similar to and or ant or but, can, him,
her, hers.
I mean, hers is going to be four, but
I mean, he does play the three-letter realm, though. Have you seen his recent edition?
No, I have.
Okay, just go back to answering Bradley's question, please.
Yeah, so back to Bradley's question here. It is going to be in that realm of three-letter word, backwards DOP, forwards pod, and I think what Bradley's trying to tell us here is he's trying to kind of elevate our thinking, trying to kind of get us to really understand the question, and I feel like the answer is in the question.
I mean, it's pod question, and I would just like a little bit of like to each their own, like
to each their own.
I mean, but look. There just has to be a balance. You know what I mean? There has to be a balance.
The balance isn't there yet.
Because there is no right answer, honestly.
But there isn't a wrong answer.
There is not a wrong answer. And it's such a great question. And you can tell that Bradley he's really looking for an answer. He doesn't know the answer to this question.
I mean, I think Bradley was just curious here, but hopefully is he gonna be watching this?
I hope. Bradley, if you're watching this,
just comment down below, Bradley.
How's it going, Bradley?
I hope we answered this question. I feel like we kind of did decipher it, so.
Yeah, so I do have another question here. I would just
and who asked this one here?
This one was for my good friend Christian.
What did Christian say?
And Christian said, "What's the matter with?"
Oh,
another great question.
What's the matter with?
Another great question. And Christian, look, if you're watching this, we just really appreciate it. And we would, I mean, look, I don't have With's phone number personally, so if you can drop that down in the comments so I can contact him.
He doesn't want all of the...
Look, if you could privately message me With's whereabouts and how he's doing, because I'm just really concerned for With. What would you say?
He's been MIA recently. That's all
very
I can
long
say.
time. Very long.
I haven't spoken to him or his family in months.
And look, With is a former MVP of the league.
I mean, the fall off is I've never seen anything.
It's got to be studied. So it just really begs the question: What's the matter
with? Yeah, honestly, my personal take on it. Don't know what he's up to. Hope he's doing well. He was great while he was playing.
You can only hope for the best for a guy like that. Look, we're talking about a former multiple-time MVP. This is a guy who's won Defensive Player of the Year, who's won a championship, won in Finals MVP. I mean, this is a guy who is just, his trophy case is huge.
His trophy. I mean, his accolades speak for themselves. Now, he's never been much of the media. It is possible he's completely fine just living off the grid, but
he's never been a media man.
If you're watching this here, just maybe make a statement to the media, maybe comment down below, subscribe to the channel. You never know. It'd be good to see you back here.
Oh yeah, 100%. It would be great to see you back here because you are just a phenomenal player, a player that you do your job. You do your job in the 4-player world so well. I mean, we could not go without you With. So we just wanted to hand our flowers and give them to you With.
And there was another submission here, just came live on the screen here. Looks like, is this an anonymous submission?
It is an anonymous submission.
And it looks like this user asked, how many pieces of sand? Is that the end of the question?
It looks to be. I mean, there's a lot of sand. There's a lot. I think that wasn't your best question, my guy. So, anonymous, if you have another question, please just save it for later. And
hey! No, don't write off anonymous yet. Maybe he didn't create an account.
Let's ask for.
What if it's With? It was a live question. What if with?
But I'm sorry. With respect to With would not ask a question like that, and I think you could agree with me there.
There's definitely sand.
There is definitely sand, but I just think that this is a question that just can't be elaborated a lot on. I think that we should move on to a different. I did just get another question. This is from my good friend Andrew. Andrew said, "If you could be any color for a day, which day?"
Oh no! There's a question. Now listen. Well, let me get my take on it.
Here is a question.
Yeah. Now, this is when you have a question like this, on the sidelines, no lead is when you have a guy like that on the side. No lead's gonna be safe. He can definitely bring you back.
100%.
To kind of answer the question, if I could be any color for a day, which day? I'd have to pick 7 a.m.
7 a.m.
Yeah.
I'm more of a 2:27 type of guy.
2:27?
Yeah. 2:27 p.m.
2:27 p.m.
He is a great player. He plays the dismissal game at the best of his abilities.
Yeah.
We got people down at the elementary school being dismissed at 2:27 p.m. And 2:27 is just sounding those alarms and playing his game so well that if I could be any color for a day, I would choose him.
No, for sure. Yeah, if I could be any color for a day again, I'd probably choose. And the question was which day. I'd probably choose at 7 a.m. I just feel like that fits, And for
he plays wake up calls so well too.
And for the color, I'd probably choose, I don't know, maybe duck or seagull for the color. But again, those can be subjective. I think the question was what day, so 7 a.m. can be my answer.
See for the color, I am more of a triangle type of guy. He does just rub me the right way.
I would choose hexagon, but if I were to choose a color, I'd choose hexagon. But if you want, can you explain your thought process? We can
agree. I think we can agree to disagree here. But if you'd like me to,
I would like you to elaborate. That kind of doesn't make sense.
He is a great 3-sided shape.
Very pointy though. Very pointy.
Yes, very pointy. But his punctuality and the way that he makes his points, is just incredible. And I think the triangle is like, he's been playing the balance game and the symbol of balance and like the triangle. When you put 4 of them and you put a square under him, you get a pyramid.
Yeah.
He just plays this game so well
that
I had to choose him out of the colors.
I will say, his angles do add up to 180 degrees.
They do. Oh, yeah, they do. And that goes without saying, I think.
That does. And then, whether we're kind of going to be like right acute, obtuse acute, acute, acute. You never really know how the angles are going to play out themselves, but they add up to 180 degrees. That's all that matters.
They do, and that's the important part, really. I think that it's because like the old saying goes, it's not about the destination, it's about the journey.
Yeah, no, for sure. And it's kind of like the destination is what you learned along the way. It's kind of similar to the what is it called, the trolley problem. If there were 4 people, on a trolley, on a train, about to get hit by the trolley, and there was one person on the other side, would you hit the lever? That kind of ties back into it.
It does tie back into it. And it does tie back into it, and it does tie the people down to the train tracks, too.
No, absolutely. And I do completely want to agree with what you're saying. Yeah. They are tied to the train tracks, so they do kind of have, they are connected to the problem themselves. They are down to the train tracks.
They cannot move, yeah. We back? Are we back? Yeah, we're back. Sorry, we're just, this is first episode. We're having some audio issues.
You mean, some difficulties, there are going to be some
there's always going to be bumps in the road, yeah. But I think that will conclude today's episode. We are glad that you guys are tuning in, and hopefully we'll see you guys soon in the next episode for the next 156 pod.
And if you guys, again, do have any questions or drafts you'd like us to go through here, just leave them down in the comments below. Maybe send a personal message, and we'll do our best to get this addressed in the following episode. So,
thank you so much, guys.
Thank you so much, guys. Great first podcast.
We really appreciate it. Have a good one, man.